Welcome back to the Association Weekend. Alongside Greg Kelser, I'm Lauren Rosen. The Lakers take game one over the Rockets. The home teams sweep day one of the 2026 NBA playoffs. Greg, shall we get into our nightcap?
Let's do it, Lauren.
So inactives were a huge part of the story today. No Luka Doncic, no Austin Reaves for the Lakers. And then pregame, Kevin Durant ruled out due to a right knee contusion for the Rockets. So what did we see from there, Greg? We've been waiting for role players to emerge. Of course, you expected and got a big game from LeBron James, but then a lot of role players doing a lot of scoring.
Yeah, we talked about this while the game was going on, and you and I agreed that the Lakers not having Luka and Reeves was damaging, obviously, but it's probably hard to really measure how much Houston missed the presence of Kevin Durant, not just for his scoring, but for his leadership, his experience in these situations. Hey, maybe LA doesn't do what they do without LeBron, and Houston needed the veteran, the guy that's been around, the guy that's won championships and done everything and seen everything, needed him available tonight. So it had to be just devastating in their mindset, I think, to find out earlier that they would not have Kevin Durant. They were going to have to open up on the road against the team that had LeBron James.
We're going to talk a little bit more about our leading scorer, Luke Kennard, and his 5-for-5 shooting night from long range. But first, let's talk about the guys that were out there in support, starting with LeBron James. You mentioned him. He flirted with a triple-double here in game one. He was super effective. And then on the other hand, we talked about Alperen Şengün and the Rockets. We were going to need a huge performance from one of them. In the absence of Kevin Durant, Şengün flirted with the triple-double of his own. But again, not quite enough. No Rocket scored over 20 in this one. Where were they lacking most to you, outside of course, missing their leading scorer in Durant?
Well, I think for the most part, it's hard to appreciate. I mean, what Durant would have done for his teammates. Şengün was good tonight. He's better when Durant is out there on the floor, when the focus for the opposition's defense is on Durant. All of their guys, Thompson, they'll all be a lot better when they have Durant out there because of what he does and the attention that he's going to get from the Lakers defensively. I thought that LeBron James was masterful tonight. He's 41 years old, played 38 minutes. What he's doing right now defies logic. No one has ever done what he's doing right now at this age. He looks 10 years younger out there. You know, his mobility, his quickness, but his smarts. He's one of the smartest players to ever play this game. He truly plays it like a coach on the floor, and that's valuable to his teammates, and especially guys like Luke Kennard, who you just mentioned a moment ago. He makes the game so much easier for others, and by way of that, he makes them better in a lot of ways.
And without Luka Doncic, they were going to need someone to distribute the ball at a high level. LeBron James, as you mentioned, at age 41, 13 assists to go along with his 19 points and 8 rebounds. What did you see from King James overall tonight?
Well, I saw him directing out there on the floor. I saw him taking the pressure off of others. I also saw him, again, calming things down when they needed to be. He didn't rush anything. He was a study in patience. He was very methodical in his approach. He seized the floor entirely. That's why he was able to get 13 assists, including that beautiful one late in the game to Ayton down low. What he does for a team, hard to measure it often, sometimes in numbers, though the numbers were there tonight, both for him individually and for his teammates. They shoot 61%. And, how do you win the game? I won't say handily, but how do you win a game, without too much fear late in the game when you turn the ball over 20 times? Well, the answer is you score just about every time you don't turn it over. The 20 turnovers is alarming, but it was not faithful for them because they were so precise and so good when they weren't turning it over. 29 assists, and they shoot 61%. That is amazing, especially when you consider they were without Luka Doncic and without Austin Reaves.
We're going to hear from both head coaches following this one. Let's start with the winning team. Lakers head coach J.J. Redick is addressing reporters now.
JJ, what stood out the most? Just kind of keeping it open. What do you think the biggest reason why you were able to win in the way that you were?
Just thought we were really poised as a team. We had a great next play mentality. Wasn't a perfect game. None of these games are going to be perfect. Got contributions from a lot of people in a lot of different ways, and made enough winning plays despite the turnovers and the offensive rebounds.
LeBron has said in the past that sometimes game one can be a feel-out game, but tonight was a little bit, on the court, was a little bit more focused, like he kind of understood the moment and what needed to happen. What did you see from him throughout and just kind of leading through the game?
Yeah, I mean, he displayed great leadership throughout, and I think, we talked all week, about being connected offensively and trusting the pass, and he led us there in the first half, getting 10 assists, and then was able to make some scoring plays down the stretch. Just a fantastic overall game from him, and he gave us all he had on the defensive end. I mean, he really exerted himself on both ends, and that's what the playoffs are.
JJ, I don't want to make any assumptions, but I assume a fair chunk of your time this past week was building a defense that was going to try to stop or slow down Kevin Durant.
Yeah, you're not going to stop Kevin Durant.
How much of an adjustment, to go back to my question about adaptability earlier, was it for you and your staff to kind of figure out what you were going to do once you guys got the KD news? And then I guess, what did it say about your team's ability to kind of take that and put it into application?
Yeah, I don't think it affected our mentality. Again, this is all we've talked about for 2 months, is just our playoff mentality, and it's you can't worry about who's in or out of a lineup. It's our game plan, it's our standards, it's how we play, and we've built towards that. And I thought our guys just responded well and met the moment. I mean, that's the biggest thing. You got to meet the moment in every game, and they were able to do that. There's a lot that you have to do with Kevin, and you just kind of scrap that and you move on to all the other stuff we worked on.
You were asked about offensive pace earlier in the week. You mentioned that you prefer intentionality as the word. How much could you feel that intentionality in terms of not just what you guys ran offensively, but how you guys were running it, and how much of that gets carried through for the remainder of the game?
Yeah, we did a good job. I think the guys that were handling versus pressure overall did a nice job of getting us organized, and we ran a lot of the stuff we wanted to run, and we got a lot of good stuff. When we did shoot the ball, we were efficient. We missed some free throws, but again, this is going to be can we take care of the ball? Over the course of 7 games, can we take care of the ball, and can we limit their offensive rebounds?
JJ, when it comes to meet the moment, Luke Kennard seemed to do that. What did you like about his performance and his overall mindset game tonight?
Yeah, I just like that he was aggressive shooting threes. I mean, he played a fantastic basketball game, but there were a couple shots that he's hesitated on or got to the next thing. I mean, he just played really aggressive tonight and did a nice job. I mean, I don't know what our overall numbers were, but we came in at halftime and we had one of our highest paint touch rates of the entire season, and his ability to just kind of get to the next thing and turn the corner on off ball stuff and touch the paint for us, and it just there's a snowball effect to that. We played a really good game.
JJ, that was a really controlled and disciplined offensive night for you guys, almost the entire night, outside of a couple minutes leading into the halftime.
Yeah,
was the message to kind of correct whatever happened?
Yeah, a lot of those were in transition. I mean, 6 were in the last 5 minutes, and we had I think 4 possessions in a row, 3 of which were in transition, and we want to look for transition opportunities, but we can also slow it down and execute and get what we want. We don't have to force them. Some of the turnovers at the end, I'll take some. I guess I don't really, but I guess I'll take some onus on that because I didn't have the extra timeout, but I was supposed to because Tyler didn't give it to me when I got the first challenge right. So we'll get clarification from the league on that.
JJ, I think Houston got 20 more shots in the paint attempts than you guys. They only made 2 more overall. How much credit do you give to your defense for just Houston's poor efficiency in the paint offensively, and how much more are you concerned with limiting them getting?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still things we can clean up just in terms of our particularly early offense. Our compact shell, and we did a good job of. I know they took free throws, but we did a good job of contesting those 6 to 8 foot shots without fouling and using our length. I thought Da, Jackson, Braun, Rui, Vando, all those guys, Jake, just getting a contest is super important.
JJ, speaking to that, just what did you think overall of the defensive performance from Da and kind of the energy that he brought to this game today?
He was great. I think he was great on both ends. Again, we're at our best when he's playing at a high level.
Oh, I was going to ask about Da.
Anything else you want to ask?
Anything else? Oh, I guess with the defensive rebounding, what did you see? Because you said earlier in the week that you knew that they're going to get offensive rebounds as part of their profile, but
yeah,
what could you do better on that end?
Well, I think they normally always have one of their athletic wings, and it's usually Thompson down in the dunker, particularly on paint shots. A lot of times teams that are high volume 3-point shooters that also crash, i.e. Golden State, i.e. Phoenix, those teams, they're crashing from the perimeter. A lot of times they're crashing within a very compact shell, and so it makes it difficult. I think we've just got to continue to be physical, and we had a number of really good possessions, and if they're missing, there's naturally going to be, you go to at halftime, they had I think 7 offensive rebounds on 26 missed shots, and so that's well below their season average for offensive rebound rate. So we did a good job in the first half. I think that and the turnovers from the second quarter on is really where we kind of got mucky with the game. Thanks, guys.
Greg, of course, availability or lack thereof is going to play a huge role in the rest of this series. But the Lakers, and you heard it from JJ Redick there, making the absolute most of their availability tonight. All 5 starters finish in double figures. Who else might they need as this series moves along if they want to come out of this first round matchup?
Well, this game sort of reminds me of the game with New York and Atlanta. Not a heck of a lot coming off the bench. They had 4 guys that played in the game, and they had 13 points from those 4 guys. So I don't know that I see that changing. And I don't know if Luka, will be available next time out. We don't know. But what we saw tonight from the Lakers is especially, again, and I can't emphasize this enough, with LeBron James and his intelligence, his way of seeing the floor and making the best plays for his teammates and choosing when the right time is to go and get his own. That's going to be critical, and I think again they're going to hang heavily on the production from their starters, which they did get tonight. I thought Ayton was very, very good. He had a 19.11 rebound double. He's a former first pick in the draft. A lot of people forget that, but when you get him the basketball, when you make him a priority, and he had to be a priority tonight when they're losing. Almost 55, 60 points a game from 2 guys. Everybody had to step it up a little bit, and he certainly did his part in that regard, shooting a high percentage, making himself available, playing big, and scoring when he had his opportunities. I've always liked Rui Hachimura. You remember there was a player many years ago, not many years ago, but Danny Granger. Hachimura kind of reminds me of him a little bit, a guy that's very talented offensively, and you throw the 3-point shot in there, which Hachimura can hit. He's been very good for the Lakers during his stretch there, especially a couple of years ago, I think it was, when they got to the conference finals and lost to Denver the year that Denver won the title. Luke Kennard just off the charts tonight. And Luke is a guy who, it's funny, a guy that can shoot as good as he can, and a coach has to tell him to be aggressive. I never shot the ball as well as Luke Kennard. I scored, but I didn't shoot the ball the way he did. But no coach has ever had to tell me to be aggressive or and encourage me to shoot the basketball. Maybe told me to not shoot it so much, But Luke was in his element today. I mean, he had to feel almost like he was back at Duke, the way he was knocking shots down and just having a great time out there and affecting winning.
Well, you heard it from JJ Redick. In the playoffs, you have to meet the moment. You said it. Luke Kennard met the moment and then some. Still to come on the show, we'll take a closer look at Luke Kennard's fantastic night in Game 1. Plus, hear from Rockets head coach Ime Udoka. Alongside Greg Kelser, I'm Lauren Rosen. We will be right back here on NBA TV for more recap of Day 1 of the NBA playoffs. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the association here on NBA TV and the NBA app. Alongside Greg Kelser, I'm Lauren Rosen as we take a closer look now at the Houston Rockets, who hung around all night despite falling in Game 1 in LA. No Kevin Durant meant Josh Okogie would slide into the starting lineup. A big night from Tari Eason off the bench. But Greg, what else are they going to need here moving forward? Of course, by the way, Ime Udoka saying he doesn't anticipate the Durant absence being more than a one-game thing, or at least that's what he said pregame. We will hear from him more in just a moment. But what do you expect out of the rest of this group as they move forward and try to make it a competitive series?
Their defense has to be better. They did some good things tonight. Just 13 turnovers, 12 turnovers on the night, on the road. Not bad. That's a very acceptable total. But defensively, I thought they just had far too many lapses. Only Marcus Smart, who took more than 2 shots in the game, shot under 50%. Everybody else shot 50 or well above. Ayton was 8 of 10. Kennard was 5 for 5 from three-point land, 9 for 13 for the game. So you can't allow them to shoot 61% and expect to win that basketball game. And they were good enough and played hard enough to kind of stick around, but they were always swimming upstream, and that was very difficult over the course of the 48-minute game.
Well, we know Ime Udoka always keeps it real. We're sure he's doing the same at the podium right now. Let's hear what he wants to adjust ahead of Game 2.
Ime, overall offensive execution, what did you see? What did you like? What did you not like?
The looks were decent. We won a lot of areas and just shot it poorly, honestly. We shoot at 37.5 and 33 from 3, and on the other end they shoot 61% and 52.5 from 3. It's going to be tough to beat, but had opportunities, like dominated the glass, 21 offensive rebounds, 23 second chance points to 6. Won the fast break 11-4, I think basically even with free throws. And we had 27 more shots in them. Just got to convert those. So some was transition, some putbacks off the offensive rebound. I think we had some decent looks from 3 and didn't shoot that well. And especially in the first quarter, they were too comfortable on their end. So it's hard to win with those numbers, shooting-wise. And we did some things good enough to win.
You did. It seemed like you didn't go to the zone a lot, even though Luke Kennard seemed like he was pretty hot. Was there any discussion about maybe going into, especially with the way that they were playing inside of the paint and the way that they were shooting from the field?
Yeah, we mixed it a little bit there late. I think they had some of their first lineup was their best shooters out there. Hachimura himself, James in the middle of the zone. That makes it tough. Good facilitator there, but just really the off-ball actions. He was way too comfortable early. Had that 11-point first quarter, kind of got them going. Guarding better in the second, but then got loose again in the second half. A lot on kickouts and transition, some of our turnovers, but got to do a better job on him. 9 for 13, 5 for 5 from 3, way too comfortable.
And obviously there's going to be more Alpy with Kevin being out, but what did you think about just his overall performance in this game?
Who's that, Alpy?
Alpy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't at his best. I think, in general, when you look at Reed, 6 for 20, Alpy 6 for 19. Jabari 5 for 14, and I'm in 7 for 18. Obviously, that shows why we shot 37%. I don't think outside of Tari, anybody had a really good shooting night in general. And so, not his best, not our best in general offensively. And, we can take advantage of some things that we didn't do as well tonight. Got a little stagnant at times, hunting our own shots, and that was kind of everybody kind of fell victim to that.
Kevin being a late scratch, where do you think his absence was most felt, where he could have made a bigger difference?
I mean, efficiency and consistent scoring. On a nightly basis, he shoots that at a good high clip, and doesn't have too many nights like this struggling-wise with all the young guys, and so kind of calms you down, run certain sets through him, draw attention, and kind of feed off him at times. But regardless if he's back or not, if we shoot that poorly, it's going to be tough to win.
You talk about guys missing a lot of shots. Is that a function of not getting good enough looks, or did you like the looks again and they just didn't convert?
Some decent looks, but some we got a little bit too stagnant hunting our own shots. And when we did touch the paint and had some kickouts, especially early in the first quarter, first half, we got really good looks. But got to have a plan on our drives. Understand that they collapse the paint, and felt like we had too many contested shots in the crowd at the rim over one or two people when we had outlets there. And so a little bit of both. I think got some decent looks. Like I said, in transition, I felt like we didn't convert the opportunities we had, but. Shooting in the crowd instead of finding guys kind of doomed us.
With Kevin being a late scratch, what is the difficulty in trying to find the right rotation of guys to play? It looks like you're trying to mix and match to find that right rotation, but how difficult is it when he's such a late scratch?
I mean, I don't think it was a surprise to us. We knew we got banged up, and we looked at a bunch of different things without him. If he could go, he could go, but it looked doubtful, based on how he's moving the last few days. And so we prepped for it, different lineups without him, and alternative starting lineups if he wasn't available. And so late to everybody publicly, but we knew there might be a good chance he was out.
What did you think of Tari's performance, and what did he add tonight?
Yeah, I think he got it going late a little bit. Got some foul trouble early, and offensively, his numbers look great: 7 for 7, 2 for 2 for 3. But I think in general, insert yourself in transition. We missed some easy ones, and guys missing him as well. But it was across the board, a lot of easy opportunities left on the table. It felt like have a 2-point game at half, and then have it in striking range a lot of the night before they went on that late run. We weren't playing our best at all, and felt like we could have obviously taken advantage of some opportunities that we missed.
Those two middle quarters, it felt like the offense really slowed down the most. What did you kind of see during that stretch of the game where you were kind of lacking on that end?
Like I said, missed conversion attempts in transition, some easy looks that guys usually make. But, it felt like we 19-17 that second quarter. We didn't score a ton, but we guarded much better, obviously, to hold them 17 points. But if we could take advantage and, convert some baskets, we'd obviously be not at a deficit. We were down 2 going into the half, and so had opportunities. It felt like we wanted to come out in the second half and kind of convert those, and then struggle a little bit there in the third quarter as well.
With Albie, it seemed like he found some success when posting up, but a lot of his opportunities seemed like isolating. What's the balance on trying to get him the ball in those two different spots?
Yeah, I mean, he understands, and we understand that they're going to flood, and I think we need to be a little more patient with that. I think 2 of his 3 early turnovers were kind of rushing it. The skip pass that went out of bounds, and the turnover where he traveled early. You just got to invite that and face up and survey, and we know that's how they guard, and kind of went over that, and so. Don't go away from being a facilitator in the post. I think at times guys get discouraged if they take away a certain thing, and that can be beneficial for us. And so we don't want as much isolation on the perimeter, where they're loaded up. Invite the doubles like we have all year, and what we've drilled behind it, we should get decent shots out of it as long as we don't turn it over.
Coach, how much of this would be just about moving on to the next game? Going back, seeing what worked, what didn't work, but fleshing this out of your system and moving on to game 2.
I mean, there are some, but there are some things like I said, we left on the table. Didn't do as well as we could have, and opportunities missed, and whether that's just converting some of the easy shots, but at the same time, it felt like we weren't at our best, and I don't know if it's deer in the headlight type thing. We got some young guys out there, but they've been out there not their first time, and so when you kind of struggle across the board like that, I think guys, some nerves might have been there a little bit, but we got to flush that part of it and bounce back on Tuesday.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Greg, you hear Ime Udoka saying there that the Rockets were not at their best tonight, but managed to keep the margins pretty thin. So as we take a closer look at their night in some highlights, what do you hope to see out of Houston in game 2 with or without Durant?
Well, I think that they're going to definitely – my focus for this team will be on the defensive end because, as I mentioned earlier, when you allow 61% shooting – now, you say, well, the defense was okay. They forced 20 turnovers. Yeah, but you still allowed them to shoot 61%, and that's what got them over the top. So I would start on that end first. Offensively, I thought they weren't bad. They were not bad. Yes, they did miss shots, no question about that. But in terms of getting the balance scoring, they had 4 of their starters scoring double figures. I thought that Tari Eason was incredible off the bench. Yeah, he was 7-7 as Ime Udoka just mentioned, but he also had 10 rebounds in the game. he did a lot in the allotted minutes that he was able to get out there. So offensively, if you're playing good defense, that's going to help your offense. That's going to spark your offense. You're going to get a few more transition opportunities if you're playing good defense. You're going to give yourselves a chance to get back and set up and make them work out of the half court if you're playing good defense. So these are the things I agree with him. Shot making, well, it's a shot making league, and if you make your shots, you're going to be okay. He says he likes the shots they got. I saw nothing wrong with a lot of the shots they took. They increased that percentage from 37, 38 up into the mid 40s. They're going to be fine if they improve the defense, and that should be their focus, I think, as they work towards game number 2 with or without Kevin Durant.
Shot making will continue to be a theme across the board. And speaking of making shots, no one made them quite as well as one Luke Kennard did today. So when we come back, we'll take a closer look at his performance. We'll take a look around the league at the day that it was. The home teams sweeping day 1 of the NBA playoffs. How'd they do it? We'll let you know when we come back right here on the Association on NBA TV and the NBA app. Welcome back to the Association alongside Greg Kelser. I'm Lauren Rosen here on NBA TV and the NBA app as we recap a great day of NBA action to tip off this year's playoffs. Now, the Lakers, the 4th and final team to enter the winner's circle here today. Marcus Smart finished with 15 points and 8 assists, and he's at the podium post-game now.
Marcus, first off, we talked about this, I think, at the end of the regular season, but for you, just how did it feel to be back playing playoff basketball after a few years of having to watch from home?
Felt good. Definitely felt like a slight new feeling for me. Just getting back in that mentality, that zone, but definitely felt good to be back out there.
Marcus, a lot of the talk leading up to tonight was just with Luka and Austin out, how it's going to take everybody, and you see all 5 starters in double digits and the bench making contributions as well. How was tonight a example of that rhetoric that you guys have been talking about?
We just showed it. You just said it. Every starter's in double digit. Our bench doing what they do, but I think it's it was never just one person at a time, right? We tried to play through the hot guy at the time and then, just make the right plays. And I think, we did a great job at that. Obviously, we can be better. I think we had, 21 turnovers? I had 5 of myself. But, for me to be able to play those positions with the guys out there, to have Luke take over, with some of the ball handling, have LeBron, I think that shows right there the collectiveness that we are together.
Okay, what pleased you the most about the way your team played? Because in every game there's always ups and downs and ups and downs. But what pleased you the most about getting through those ups and downs?
Just our ability to stay poised. You playing against a really good team out there who does a really good job of mucking up the game, and seeing who's the toughest team, right? And, it got a little chippy out there, a couple technicals called. And I think, for me and for this team to be able to stay as poised as we did, I think that was the part for me that really stood out and was like, okay, I think we're ready and it's going to be a good one. And as long as we can continue to do that, I think we'll be in good shape.
Hello. Over here. Hi. I was just talking to one of the guys who hadn't been in the playoffs before, and he said he was really nervous going on the court. Coach keeps talking about you as, veteran presence, guys showing guys what to do. How much of that is individual, you pulling guys aside, and how much of it is like collective just in the room?
A lot of it's pulling them guys to the side. Ironically, a lot of the guys are actually pulling me to the side, right? Asking me questions. And, they want to learn. And that's something about this young group that the guys that are on that bench that, haven't been in the playoffs. I think that right there shows, the work that we put in as a team, the trust that they have in me as a vet to be able to lead them in that way, right? So it's definitely been a little bit of both, but definitely the guys have been on their own doing it, pulling me aside. So I commend them for that.
What kinds of questions? So is it like specific X and O stuff, or is it more just like, how do I do this kind of thing?
It's a little bit of everything, but mostly on the defensive end. The reads that I see, the plays that I make, and basically how do I guard guys? I'm not considered a great defender. How can I you know, they're not. Yeah, that's what they're saying to me. They're not considered a great defender, so they're trying to get little tips to figure out how to play defense, right? So I'm just trying to do my best to not only show by example, but also, you know, teach them and verbally, right?
Hey, Marcus, not trying to get too far ahead of anything. It's only one game, but I remember back in 2018, you was with a shorthanded team as far as stars go. Gordon wasn't there the whole season. Kyrie was there, but he didn't play in the playoffs with y'all. That was a conference finals run for that team. Like, what can you take from that experience to what this team is going through, at least to start this postseason?
Resiliency. That 18 team, we were resilient. We were, you know, no matter who we had on the floor, we're going to make sure we go out there and give it everything we had. And we're in the same scenario here. Our two best players get hurt, right? And we got to show how resilient we are, especially against a team that's going to come out and make you prove it. So I think that right there is the equivalent of that 18 season that I had and the ability to be able to bounce back under this adversity that we're going through. And that's what makes this team dangerous.
Marcus, earlier in the season, you talked about what it was like to be on this side with LeBron after all your battles through the years. What's it like to be on this side with playoff LeBron, and what's sort of the week been like just going through preparation with him in practice and then seeing it tonight, the way he controlled the game?
I mean, it's been great. I mean, being able to see, you know, why, you know, he's considered, you know, one of the greatest to do it, the way that he prepares for the playoffs, it's a whole different mentality for him, right, than the regular season. And we see it, you guys see it, but as a teammate, to be able to be there watching him get prepared, watching the things he's doing to get himself ready, I'm glad I'm on his side this time.
Hey, Marcus, you had a bunch of straight line drives to go along with the 8 assists. You led the team in free throw attempts. How much do you feel like it's your responsibility to be someone that goes at their on-ball pressure with force, counters it with force? It's important for me, you know, especially without, you know, the two guys, Luka and Austin. We're short on, you know, ball handlers and guys who can create not just for themselves but for others, right? So, you know, the team, they lean on me a lot for that, and just to be able to do it. So constantly my teammates, coaching staff is telling me be aggressive, you know, either that's for you or for your teammates, but continue to be aggressive. And that's something I have to do. You know, I haven't always been asked to play that role. And I think that's what makes me unique. I'm a Swiss Army knife, so kind of do a little bit of everything. So hopefully we can keep it up, and hopefully I can continue to stay in that mentality and that mode.
And Marcus, back to LeBron, the fact that he didn't play as if he had to do everything to compensate without Luka and Austin, what ways do you think that set the tone to ensure that team balance?
Well, first off, it's just his IQ, right? You know, he picks and chooses when to exert energy, and he knows when to exert the energy, right? But I think it just speaks volume of who he is and who he's always been, a leader. You know, he instills trust in his guys, right? The word we're using now is elevate, right? He elevates us, you know, to see a guy, you know, of his status being able to, you know, turn down shots to get other guys going. And then, like I said, picking and choosing when it's his time, it just, you know, it helps us a lot, and it just shows his greatness.
Thanks, Marcus.
Thank you, guys. And by the way, that 18 season was against Brian.
Greg, we heard it from Marcus Smart. You shared with us minutes ago. LeBron James continues to elevate his game, continues to elevate the play of others. At age 41 tonight, 13 assists were needed, and he was able to produce those. Let's just take another moment to discuss how unique what he is doing out there has been now for years. And again, tonight, what'd you see from the King?
Well, once again, you start with the fact that he's playing at such a high level, an all-star level, maybe an all-NBA level at the age of 41. I mean, there have been players that have played into their 40s in the NBA and its history, but none to this level, none like this. Super intelligent, seems to always know what his teammates need at a certain time of a game, or there's, you know, they need an encouraging word or they need the ball. You'll get both from him. And LeBron is chasing his own history. He's going to go down as one of the top 10 best players ever. You know, some might have him the best ever. I would probably argue that a little bit. I think he's phenomenal. But he would love more than anything to get that 5th ring. And I think that's what drives him. Getting that 5th ring puts him up there with Irvin Magic Johnson, pulls him to within one of Michael Jordan, puts him right there with Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, all who got 5 rings. And he wants that badly. And I think that's what he's hoping for. And there are a lot of people who think that if they're at full strength, they'll have a shot at it.
Welcome back to the Association Weekend. We've got post-game coverage as the Lakers take Game 1 against the Rockets. LeBron James, at age 41, just 2 rebounds short of a triple-double in Game 1 tonight. 19 points, 8 rebounds, 13 assists, and he's addressing reporters at the podium right now.
LeBron, what pleased you the most about not just getting the win tonight, but the way your team played?
I mean, I just think our composure. I mean, obviously we were going against a well-coached, super athletic. They caused a lot of havoc. I think our composure, even when they made a run at the end of that second to cut the lead to 2, we came out in that third quarter and was able to withstand that, and pretty much play the game that we wanted to play. We had a great game plan and we tried to execute that as close to 48 as possible.
LeBron, you guys had all 5 starters in double figures, 29 assists. We've talked about this week how, without Luka and Austin, it'll be a collective. Just how much can tonight serve as a blueprint for what it's going to take for this series?
I mean, we don't have a choice. It has to be that way. It has to be a collective group. I mean, when you're missing so much firepower like we are right now with AR and Luka being out, we all have to pitch in. We all have to do our job and even do a little bit more. Protect one another offensively and defensively, and I think we did that tonight.
I know you're not someone who really applies the term pressure to basketball very often, but Luka Reaves told us the other day he doesn't feel any pressure, and JJ Redick said that maybe it's freeing this position you guys are in going into this series, considering your backcourt, what they're going through. What do you feel like the kind of overall team spirit is or has been coming into this?
I mean, we just want to prepare ourselves the best way we can. I thought we had a great week of preparation, but we got to continue that. It's just one game. We protect the home court for Game 1, and we got to get better over the next 48 hours going into Game 2 on Tuesday. So, I thought we had just good spirit. Everybody was in tune with what we wanted to execute, and we tried to do that.
LeBron, this is the 83rd game this team has played this season, counting the regular season tonight. You guys have had to win a bunch of different ways. How do you think that benefited you guys as you enter a game like tonight, obviously missing your starting backcourt, but also, too, having prepped a very specific way for a Rockets team you ended up not seeing?
No, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we definitely prepared the best way we could coming into tonight's game. We understood the situation that we're going to be in, and we understand how our demographic of offensively, how we're going to play had to completely change. So we spent a lot of time of this week, the week leading up to this game, honing in on what we need to do offensively, because it's just a different style of how we play now. When you're missing so much, for us, our game plan didn't change that much as far as who we're going against. Obviously, getting the news late, the late scratch of KD, changed some of our situational things. But that team is still dangerous, even more dangerous with KD, obviously, but they're still dangerous, and I thought we handled it with a lot of professionalism.
Hey, Bron. You've hit so many difficult shots in your career. I'm wondering what you thought of Luke's offhanded hook shot in the first.
The one that went high off the glass? Yeah. It's good to be able to be comfortable with both hands, and him going across that lane and going to his right hand, being able to kiss it high off that glass, it's a pretty cool to be able to do that. A defense can never just key in on one hand, and it keeps the defense always off balance.
Brian, after Game 1, where do you begin, even after a win, to assess potential areas of improvement when you're in a playoff series?
Right after the game ended and I got in my locker. I'm already thinking about situations where we could have been better, thinking about ways I could have been better, putting us in position to be more successful, both offensively and defensively. We have a lot of room to improve. Things that we said that we wanted to accomplish, and some of the things that we did not accomplish tonight as a team. So we got a lot of room for improvement going into Tuesday.
Hey, Bron, is it kind of crazy that of all of the superstars in this series, that the lone one standing was the one in year 23 tonight?
I don't know. There's a lot of crazy things that's been going on this year, for me. I was on the floor with my son, like in a playoff game. That's probably the craziest thing that's ever happened to me in my career. It was just so cool to be out there with him and his brother and sister and his mom in the building and his grandma. That's just insane. My mom get to watch her son and her grandson during the playoffs. That's crazy.
Speaking of Bronny, so obviously unprecedented on so many levels that you guys got to share the floor together in the playoffs tonight. Did you have a conversation with him at all before? Did you give him any fatherly advice, teammate advice going into this game?
No, listen, we all prepared this week, including Bronny. But shit, just like everybody in their first playoff game, you're gonna be nervous. You could try to prepare for it. You try to sleep as much as you can the night before. You can, do all the things that you do, your same routine and everything. When you step on that floor, I remember my first, 2006 going against Washington, our first home game, being back in the playoffs in a minute in a long time with the Cavs, and I was just nervous as hell. Like, as soon as I got on the floor, I was just super nervous. But once you get the kind of them jitters out, you get that first game under your belt, now you kind of know what to expect. So, he'll be better going into, the next time he get his number called.
Hey, LeBron, setting the tone the way you did tonight as a facilitator, how important was that to the sustained success you all had offensively tonight?
Well, for me, I got to do a little bit of everything. That's what the job requires, and so it's being a triple threat, being able to rebound, being able to pass, being able to shoot, also defend, put myself in a position where I can, bring value to this ball club, bring value to this team, throughout this series, and it's going to be a game-to-game situation to see what, how the game plays out. So I don't predetermine what I'm going to do. The only thing that's predetermined in my game is how I prepare. I prepare before I get to the game, and then once I get out there, it's just all about reading, reacting, understanding situations. I've been in every situation you can ever imagine as a basketball player, so there's nothing that can surprise me. Appreciate it.
You guys can stay seated so we can get him out, and then we'll follow him around. Thank you. A closer look now at LeBron James' highlights from tonight. We mentioned just 2 rebounds shy of a very impressive potential triple-double. The double-double impressive nonetheless. Greg, break down LeBron for us. We heard him talk about just how special it was to share the floor with Bronny in a playoff environment, to watch Luke Kennard go as crazy as he did. What did you see from LeBron as he really was the straw that stirred the Lakers' drink here tonight?
Yeah, if he's not available, they don't win this basketball game. Surely you want Luka out there. You want Reaves out there with their high scoring potential. But of the 3, the guy you probably really want out there is the one that was out there tonight, because he set such a tone in terms of everybody. I think LeBron probably still feels if he needed to go out there and score 30, 40, he could do it. But they probably don't win. But if he goes out there and scores 19, if he goes out and gets 13 assists and only turns it over twice and gives everybody else the confidence and giving them the ball, demonstrating your trust, that is invaluable. And that's what he did tonight. And that's why his team was able to win this game and play from ahead most of the night. You talk about a leader. LeBron James has been a leader since he entered this league, and he is still that. And I know there's been some possible talk or discussion or rumor that this could be his last year. I hope it's not. I hope he's still playing at too high of a level. So I'd like to see him stay out there and get everything he can out of it. Keep going for the goal. As long as you're playing the way you are right now, you're going to miss this guy when he's gone. He'll be talked about for a very, very long time, especially when you talk about durability and longevity. So I hope this isn't the end of it, but we need to appreciate LeBron James for what he's done and what he's doing right now. They'll probably
certainly
not be able to like him especially in terms of the longevity part.
Certainly one of the best, if not the best players out there on the floor tonight, among some much younger legs running out there. LeBron James still looking like his old self. This series could be a long one. We, of course, will keep you posted on availability. That, of course, will be very consequential for both teams. Greg, let's take a look now at tomorrow's slate. The home teams ran the show today. Tomorrow tips off at 1 Eastern on ABC as the 76ers visit the Celtics. Then we'll have Suns, Thunder, we'll have the Magic and your Detroit Pistons, and the Blazers round out the night against the San Antonio Spurs. Greg, I know you're looking forward to this Pistons matchup, and because you are the foremost expert on this one seed in the East, what are you looking forward to as they get their playoff journey underway?
Well, I don't know that it has ever happened before, but this could be a home team game one sweep, I think. I don't see any upsets on that board. Now, I know the game is played on the court and it can happen. Didn't happen today, though. As far as the Pistons and the Orlando Magic, it's going to be a tough series. Orlando is a team that's probably a little bit better than their record. I know they've had some issues. They've had some health issues, but they looked really, really good in not messing around and playing around with Charlotte. Got them out of there and put themselves in the 8th spot. They have beaten the Pistons a couple of times this year. Now, one of those Orlando wins came after the Pistons had exhaled a bit after clinching the East's best record. So they go to Orlando and they fall back by 25 points. They bring it back to within 4 to show, that they still have the medal. And then eventually they succumb late in the game. But it wasn't an important game or an imperative game for the Pistons. They beat the Pistons during the in-season tournament as well. But this will be a good matchup. The Pistons will be and should be favored, and game one will be huge. And it'll be nice to see the Pistons with all their depth and Cade Cunningham back, hopefully at full strength, and Stewart and everybody else that has missed games late. But on paper, this looks like the Pistons, and I just hope that on the court, it's the Pistons.
The 1 seeds and the 2 seeds all in action tomorrow. Of course, it doesn't feel like the playoffs have really started unless you see the Celtics and the Sixers facing off. I'm looking forward to that beginning of the day. And then, of course, I spent most of my season in the Western Conference. So excited to see how Oklahoma City and San Antonio hold up now that every game matters so much. Greg Kelser, thank you for breaking everything down for us. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you being here with me.
Thank you, Lauren. I enjoyed working with you.
Likewise, we must do it again soon. That's all we've got for you tonight here on the Association Weekend. We'll be back tomorrow night here on NBA TV and the